You don't need a big budget, fancy tools, or a landscape designer to make your patio look like a dream. All it takes is a few smart ideas, and you'll be amazed what you can build with just wood scraps, bricks, or even old furniture. In this video, Backyard Fortune brings you over 13 stunning patio garden ideas that are so easy, you'll wonder why you haven't done them yet. Each design is proof that magic can be made from the simplest things, and we've broken it all down with timestamps so you can jump to any idea you love. Let's begin your backyard transformation, and if you've got questions or your own brilliant tips, drop them in the comments below. One compact hanging herb garden patio. Have you ever noticed how the smallest corners can carry the biggest breath of life? Tucked under the soft morning light, this patio becomes more than a garden. It becomes a living kitchen in the open air. Here, herbs don't just grow. They float, suspended in macrame hangers, their leaves dancing gently in the breeze. Basil, mint, thyme, and lemon balm dangle like living ornaments, casting tiny shadows across a handmade table below. Each pot holds more than greenery. It holds intention, a touch of love, a hint of something homemade. On one side, recycled wooden crates have been given a second life, turned into platforms for potted rosemary and lavender. On another, a trellis wall carries a row of terracotta pots, perfectly aligned, each one brimming with the scent of something fresh and useful. It's the kind of simplicity that feels elegant, not because it's expensive, but because it's deeply thoughtful. There's a rhythm to this space. A pair of scissors resting beside a basket of clippings. A tea towel casually folded on a bench. A pitcher of lemon water catching the sunlight on a quiet table for two. It's as if the patio breathes with you, calm, fragrant, and full of purpose. And the magic? It's all so wonderfully easy. No sprawling garden. No lavish budget. Just light, care, and a little creativity. So if you've ever doubted whether a tiny balcony or a forgotten wall could become something beautiful, let this be your whisper of yes. Start with a pot, then a shelf. Let the herbs find you. Because even the smallest garden can feed your hands, your home, and your soul all at once. Two, romantic vintage bistro patio setup. Sometimes, romance doesn't need a grand gesture. Sometimes, it lives quietly in the corners we care for. Tucked under the shade of climbing ivy and dappled walls, a vintage bistro set waits, delicate, inviting, and entirely timeless. Two iron chairs, slightly worn by weather and time, sit side by side, wrapped in soft throws that remember evening breezes and whispered laughter. The table between them, wrought in ornate swirls, tells a different kind of love story, one written in candlelight, garden blooms, and handwritten notes. Macarons rest on fine china. A glass jar flickers gently, casting warm shadows over petals and pages of an unread book. There's no hurry here. Only stillness. Only presence. As twilight slips in, string lights above begin to hum softly, reflecting golden hour tones across brick and bloom. Hydrangeas nod gently in their pot, and the scent of lavender drifts in from nearby. It's not about extravagance. It's about intention. A space made with care. For conversations unhurried. For tea poured slowly. For glances held just a little longer than usual. You don't need much to recreate this. A pair of chairs. A little table. A jar, a flower, a flicker. The magic arrives not with money, but with meaning. So if you've ever wished for a small corner that feels like a Parisian escape or a forgotten garden in a Jane Austen novel, this is your sign. Dust off that old table. Hang the lights. Let ivy grow wild. And watch how love quietly returns to your everyday life. Because the most beautiful stories often begin in places just like this, in quiet, ordinary corners, lit by soft candles and shared hearts. Three, cozy garden reading patio corner. There are moments in life that don't need to be loud to be remembered. Some are written in silence, in the scent of jasmine, in the warmth of a worn blanket, in the rustling of a single page turned slowly. This is the kind of patio where stories come to life, not from a screen, but from the spine of a book and the breath of the garden. Tucked into a quiet corner, a reading chair, whether wicker, wood, or swing, becomes the throne of stillness. Surrounded by blooming peonies, climbing jasmine, or baskets of lavender, the world feels far away, and yet somehow closer than ever. A steaming cup of chamomile tea rests nearby, warming both hand and heart. A throw blanket waits, folded and familiar, over the arm of the chair. And as golden light peeks through leaves above, shadows move softly across cobblestones like chapters passing. In this space, every detail whispers, slow down. From a tree stump side table to a vintage lantern glowing by your side, nothing feels forced. Everything is placed with quiet purpose, not to impress, but to embrace. And the beauty of it all? You can create this refuge with the simplest of things you already have: a comfortable seat, a few potted plants, a candle, a book, and time. This is not just a patio. It's a pause button. So take that small corner. Let ivy climb. Let petals fall. Let light hang gently above like a string of quiet stars. And give yourself permission to sit, breathe, read, and become part of the story unfolding around you. Because sometimes the best escape is only a few steps outside your door. Fall boho rope swing patio retreat. There are places that don't ask to be perfect, only to be felt. A simple rope swing, woven by hand and kissed by sunlight, hangs like a whispered invitation. It doesn't swing wildly, only sways, slowly, like a breath between thoughts. Wrapped in textured blankets and tribal cushions, it feels like a warm memory waiting to be lived. The patio is framed not by grandeur, but by intention. Terracotta pots overfill with cheerful marigolds and gentle eucalyptus. Tall grasses sway like dancers in the wind. Nearby, feathers rest on a table as if left behind by a dream, alongside a soft burning candle and a bowl of petals that never ask for attention, but offer beauty all the same. This is where time folds into stillness. Where wind chimes echo like distant lullabies, and the scent of incense wraps around your shoulders like a hug. No rules, just rhythm. No schedule, just sunlight dripping slowly through gauzy white canopy fabric above. Every surface breathes natural texture, jute underfoot, clay along the table, hemp in the ropes that hold your weight like the arms of the earth itself. This is not just decor. It's a mindset. It's knowing that your backyard doesn't need to be big to hold magic. It only needs to be you, wild, soft, free. So if you've been waiting for a sign to hang a swing, scatter some floor pillows, and let vines take over the edges, this is it. Because the soul doesn't crave perfection. It craves presence. And this little boho corner offers it, quietly, beautifully, and entirely on your terms. Upcycled pallet garden lounge patio. Not every lounge needs to be store-bought. Sometimes, beauty begins with something left behind, a wooden pallet, a crate, an empty can, waiting for a second chance. Here, in the quiet hum of a backyard evening, pallets have found new purpose. As benches, softened with layered cushions and blankets hand-woven in love. As coffee tables, holding jars of lemon water and wildflowers that smile in their simplicity. As planters, turned from forgotten tins into vessels for mint, rosemary, or tiny orange fruits that glow against the green. Color spills from every corner, not in chaos, but in joy. Blue, mustard, coral, sage, like a patchwork quilt of happiness stitched together with care. Above, string lights stretch like quiet laughter from one corner to another, catching the breeze and scattering warm halos across the cushions. There's something deeply grounding here. Not just in the reuse of wood or the handmade comfort of a crocheted throw, but in the feeling that everything has a story. That the things we often discard can be the very things that hold us, literally and emotionally. This patio doesn't ask to be flawless. It invites you as you are. To sit cross-legged. To lean back. To sip something cold. To tuck your feet under a blanket and stay long after the sky turns soft with dusk. Because sometimes the most beautiful places aren't built with money. They are built with meaning and a little imagination. Six, modern succulent vertical patio wall. There's something undeniably calming about a garden that grows upright, like a quiet rebellion against gravity. In this small corner of the patio, life has chosen to climb instead of sprawl, blooming in soft silvers, fresh greens, and pearly blues. Succulents, those patient artists of the plant world, arrange themselves in harmony across a backdrop of charcoal black or aged wood. Whether nestled into a steel grid, a rustic plank wall, or modern matte panels, they form a natural mosaic, perfect without needing to be precise. Some are rosettes like frozen flowers, others dangle like leafy waterfalls, and a few peek out from painted pots as if sharing secrets only gardens can whisper. Each cluster tells a story of quiet strength, of growing with little, of thriving in spaces others overlook. Beneath these vertical marvels, benches await. Not for grand conversations, but for slow mornings, for sun-warmed journals, for quiet observation. A chair facing the wall becomes more than seating. It's a front-row ticket to a performance where the only sound is the rustle of leaves and the hush of time. These walls don't shout. They don't need to. They invite. To pause. To breathe. To believe that even in the smallest corners, something beautiful can grow skyward. Seven, twinkle light garden canopy patio. Some spaces don't need to be large to feel infinite. They simply need light, intention, and a quiet corner beneath the sky. Here in this hidden nook of the garden, a canopy floats like a soft cloud, held gently by posts wrapped in glimmering lights. As dusk deepens, the first sparkle appears, not from the stars above, but from the lights that hang low, close enough to touch. The ground is laid with pebbles or stone, grounding the glow with earthy texture. There is something tender about the way the light spills across the fabric, over cushions, into the folds of linen, wrapping everything in a warmth that isn't from the sun, but from something older, maybe memory, maybe magic. Under the twinkle canopy, it becomes more than just a patio. It's a secret waiting to be shared. The candles flicker quietly on low tables, their flames caught in jars like soft-spoken promises. Whether it's a reclaimed pallet bed dressed in neutral tones, a pair of white vintage chairs on a tiled rug, or a snug bench tucked between ivy-covered walls, each version tells the same truth. This space was made to hold moments that deserve to last. It's the kind of place you stumble into and never want to leave. Where laughter turns hushed, not from sadness but from awe. Where even silence feels full. Because here, under lights that whisper instead of shine, the world becomes softer, and you begin to believe again in slow nights, in golden calm, in the little things that glow. Eight. Rustic recycled wood patio mini bar. Tucked at the edge of a quiet garden path, where grapevines gently dance against a weathered fence, there exists a little corner that invites more than just refreshment, it invites stories. This mini bar, crafted with love from aged wooden pallets and rustic planks, stands not as a showroom piece, but as a labor of heart and hands. Each surface carries the soul of repurposed wood, imperfect, textured, real. An old crate, flipped and fastened to the wall, becomes a home for glass jars filled with sun-dried citrus slices, cinnamon sticks, and spices that whisper of slow Sunday gatherings. A pitcher of chilled lemonade waits patiently on the countertop, beside a neat row of vintage glasses and a tray of freshly snipped herbs, mint, thyme, perhaps a little rosemary. A string of exposed bulb lights weaves above the space, casting a mellow amber glow as the afternoon fades into early evening. It's the kind of light that doesn't shout, but softens everything it touches, the copper shaker, the chalkboard welcome sign, even the shadows. And just nearby, a guitar rests quietly, as if ready to strum the soundtrack of a lingering twilight. Two stools sit facing the bar, carved from driftwood and forged with quiet strength, not just for sitting, but for pausing. For leaning into conversation, for listening to the breeze and the clink of glass. The bar isn't grand, and it isn't polished. But in its simplicity lies the magic. It's a place that feels human. This isn't a bar built to impress. It's built to hold moments, of flavor, of laughter, of stillness, and to remind us that the most beautiful things are often handmade, imperfect, and shared under a sky slowly turning gold. Nine. Cottagecore Wildflower Patio Retreat. There's a kind of peace that can only be found in a garden that grows wild, a little patch of earth where nature is allowed to write its own story. Tucked behind a white picket fence, this patio doesn't scream for attention, it whispers. It invites. Daisies spill from chipped teacups, foxgloves stretch tall with quiet elegance, and woven baskets brim with poppies and cornflowers freshly gathered under the morning sun. A wooden bench, time-worn and welcoming, is softened by hand-knit pillows and a throw that smells faintly of lavender and summer air. Nearby, a winding cobblestone path curves gently through a meadow of movement. Queen Anne's lace and forget-me-not sway like dancers in the breeze. Each step crunches lightly, each bloom seems to lean in to say hello. A small wrought iron table sits beneath a cloud of blooms, holding a teacup, a slice of cake, and a vase of loosely arranged wildflowers. It's a table set not for formality, but for feeling, a space for journaling, for daydreaming, for moments unhurried. And then, in a hidden alcove framed by ivy walls, time slows to a hush. A rocking chair, simple and wooden, waits with a lace pillow and a view of the horizon filtered through stems and petals. A crate holds seed packets, old books, and a garden diary, as if someone has only just stepped away. Dragonflies skim the air above, while string lights catch the last golden rays of the day. It's not polished. It's not styled to perfection. But that's exactly why it's perfect. This isn't just a patio, it's a living poem. It's the kind of place that reminds you beauty isn't always planned. Sometimes, it simply blooms. (10) Compact floating Zen deck patio. There are gardens meant for gathering, and then there are gardens meant for listening, not to others, but to the quiet whisper of one's own soul. In this compact floating Zen patio, every element is stripped to its essence. A pale wooden platform appears to hover weightlessly above a sea of meticulously raked gravel. The sand patterns, drawn in quiet spirals, echo the natural order, impermanent yet harmonious. Around the deck, graceful bamboo shoots rise like green poetry, creating a soft perimeter of privacy and movement. The furniture here is intentional, not abundant, but meaningful. Two simple cushions rest beside a low table set for tea, where steam curls gently from a ceramic bowl. A crane statue stands nearby, still and proud, a silent companion in this sacred space. A bamboo fountain drips rhythmically in the corner, each drop a gentle reminder of time passing without rush. As dusk falls, soft lanterns glow from the four corners of the platform. Their light is not for spectacle, but for serenity. It bathes the space in warmth, in invitation, to meditate, to breathe, to do nothing and everything at once. Creating a patio like this doesn't require grandeur or vast land. It begins with a decision to make space for peace. With simple materials, natural textures, and thoughtful placement, you too can carve out a floating sanctuary where stress dissolves and the soul finds stillness. This isn't just a DIY deck, it's a daily retreat. A gift of simplicity, in a world that often forgets how healing quiet can be. (11) Small garden patio mirror illusion design. Sometimes, all it takes is a single reflection to transform a tiny garden into something boundless. In a quiet corner where lavender hums in purple waves and thyme perfumes the breeze, a tall mirror framed in soft, sun-bleached driftwood stands as a quiet invitation to another world. The mirror doesn't just bounce light, it holds a secret. A piece of sky captured in its glass, a wisp of cloud resting on its surface, a distant tree blooming impossibly close. The garden bench beside it waits, humble and calm, offering a seat not just to rest, but to dream. Elsewhere, tucked between rustic stone walls and playful climbing vines, another mirror leans, reflecting the petals of cosmos and dahlias like they were painted twice, once by nature and once by magic. A simple round bistro table with tea glasses and a crisp linen napkin faces its twin in the glass. Hanging orbs overhead glimmer as they sway, echoing themselves in shimmering loops. The whole scene feels doubled, and in that doubling, quietly enchanted. And on a time-worn red brick wall, a window-shaped mirror gives the illusion of a garden continuing beyond the limits of reality. Ivy creeps from both sides, some real, some illusion, impossible to tell apart. Candles and lanterns glow softly at dusk, casting long reflections. A lone chair in wrought iron waits in reverence, facing a vision of hydrangeas blooming in a place your hands can't reach but your heart might wander to. These mirrored moments are more than decorative tricks, they are windows to wonder. Even the smallest patio, with the right reflection, becomes a doorway to the infinite. A whisper of another realm, blooming just behind the glass. Cozy DIY garden fire pit patio idea. The soft flicker of firelight is often all it takes to transform a modest patio into something magical, and these 3 garden fire pit scenes prove just that. In one tucked-away nook beneath a watchful maple tree, time seems to slow. A circle of smooth river stones cradles a crackling fire, its warm amber glow casting gentle shadows over the mossy ground and meandering stone path. Leather poofs, chunky knit stools, and plush floor cushions surround the flame like storytellers around a sacred ember. Lanterns dangle softly from tree limbs above, glowing like suspended stars, while carved trays of pastries and mulled cider invite slow conversations. It's not just a patio, it's a sanctuary of evening rituals. Elsewhere, a simple square pit built from reclaimed bricks becomes the centerpiece of a suburban hideaway. Metal chairs gather around the flame, each draped with a vintage quilt that seems to whisper stories of old family homes. A humble tray of marshmallows and lavender water rests nearby, ready for fireside roasting. The garden may be small, but the moment is grand, wrapped in calm, cloaked in twinkling fairy lights, and carried on the scent of lavender and evening dew. And then there's a gravel courtyard, softened by wooden benches laid in sheepskin throws and soft-woven blankets. The fire pit here is wide and round, made from rough-hewn stone, radiating comfort from its glowing heart. Crate tables hold mugs of cider, and strings of golden lights weave above like fireflies frozen mid-flight. Marigolds bloom at the feet of wooden planters, their orange petals echoing the color of the flames. It feels like a handcrafted moment, lived, shared, cherished, glowing gently in the embrace of nature. With only a few simple tools, some found materials, and a touch of imagination, you can bring these warm, welcoming spaces to life, right in your own backyard. Sustainable reclaimed wood garden patio. There's something deeply soothing about a garden space born entirely from what once was. Weathered wood, once forgotten, now finds new purpose in this reclaimed patio haven, a quiet retreat where sustainability becomes part of the soul of design. You won't find glossy finishes or sterile symmetry here. Instead, each board and bench holds the fingerprints of time, of stories repurposed and gently retold. In one corner, an L-shaped bench hugs the walls, its surface smooth from wear, shaded beneath a simple pergola dressed in vines. A wind chime sings when the breeze passes, its tone mellow and grounding, echoing the calm of slow mornings. Planters made from old drawers and cabinets burst with the bright joy of geraniums, mint, and rosemary, a symphony of color and scent that feels both intentional and wild. Another scene unfolds with a more structured rhythm. A crate repurposed as a coffee table anchors the center, its slatted sides casting soft, broken shadows onto wooden deck boards. Overhead, rattan lanterns sway gently, filtering golden afternoon light onto wildflowers nestled at the corners of a bench built from stacked timbers. There's a quiet warmth here, a tactile honesty in every piece. And finally, the most rustic of all, a pallet bench softened with handmade patchwork cushions, inviting rest and conversation. The table between them is crafted from an old door, its hardware still intact, lending the space a whisper of history. Along the wall, shelves hold zinc tubs filled with herbs and blooms, their silver sheen catching the sun, reminding us how beautiful reuse can truly be. In this reclaimed oasis, nothing is wasted. Not wood, not sunlight, not the hum of life that dances through every reused nail and knot. It's a reminder that design doesn't need to be new to be extraordinary. Sometimes, all it takes is intention, a little creativity, and the willingness to see potential where others see scrap. And that, perhaps, is the most magical DIY of all. If this video sparked your creativity, don't forget to hit like, share it with a fellow DIY lover, and subscribe for more down-to-earth garden inspiration every week. Remember, your dream patio doesn't have to cost a fortune, just a little time, heart, and imagination. Until next time, keep growing your paradise.